Okay, who here hasn't been to space? Why? You better not throw up on my ship.
Approaching jump in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, what's going on, fellow fanatics, and welcome back to my YouTube channel where we discuss all things movies, TV, streaming, hot topics, and more. And this is a new segment that we are calling Shit You Missed. And in this segment, we are going to be going over quickly just a lot of the topics that happened over the week. And one of those topics that we're going to be talking about is James Cameron. James Cameron, being one of the most successful directors of our generation, had a lot to say this week. When he was speaking in an interview, he said, "I don't want anybody whining about the length when they sit and binge watch television for 8 hours." The writer-director explained, "It's like, give me a fucking break. I've watched my kids sit and do 5 one-hour episodes in a row. Here's the big social paradigm shift that has to happen. It's okay, get up and go pee." So when I hear James Cameron saying something like that, for me personally, when you're saying get up and go pee, that doesn't make me interested for your movie. It doesn't make me interested for your movie simply because at no moment should I want to get up and go pee. At no moment should I feel like I can take a break from a, now that you've confirmed, 3-hour film and feel like that can happen. So you got James Cameron saying those things, but I also say with him saying that, James Cameron took 10 years to develop this film. And him taking those 10 years to develop this film, if he feels like 3 hours is a sufficient enough time for viewers and audience to view that film, I'm gonna have to agree with him. I'm not agreeing with him on the whole shut up and sit down and whatever thing, but I'm gonna agree with him on being upset with people getting upset that the film is 3 hours. This man has put time and crafted, all this into that. So when you've taken that, for me personally, if I've taken that much time on something and I've put so much of my time and effort into it, and I put it out there and the general audience is somebody's like, well, that's a little off. Motherfucker, I just spent all this time on this shit and you're gonna criticize it like that? So I feel him where he's coming from on that. Like, it's a 3-hour film. If you don't want to sit and binge a 3-hour film, don't watch the film. But if he feels like he has to tell Way of the Water in a 3-hour time period, and he studied water to do this fucking film. He put his whole life into Avatar. So I feel like if he's saying that, I feel like, that's not that big of a deal. But Trey, when you hear him saying those things, what do you think?
I think if you have a movie that's 3 hours long, it's telling a story, and you think it's good, then tell them let the movie speak for itself, right? I don't think comparing it to streaming works at all. I think that's kind of a moot point because you're talking about two different mediums to tell a story. The difference between a TV show or a series and a movie, and there's story beats. There's things that happen in episodic format that intentionally drives you to watch the next episode. Cliffhanger endings, rising action, things like that, where your movie won't necessarily have that, right? And I kind of agree with what you said, saying it's okay to get up and go pee. No, does that mean your movie is going to... I watched the director's cut of Avatar. There were some slow moments. Granted, I knew I was intentionally watching a director's cut, but I'm just saying, I think it's dumb to compare the two. I think if you make a 3-hour movie, you made a 3-hour movie. Just if they say, oh, it's long, yes, it is. Go watch it. You will see why. And that's all you gotta say. Don't throw a fit about it and give me a fucking break. Kids watch movies. You sound like an old man.
Right.
You sound like, these kids these days will watch 5 hours of TV. It's different. It's a different format and it's told in a different way. Just make a good movie. If it's long, I can easily say, that movie was long and it was great. Both things can be true at the same time, but
right.
We'll just see how it goes for itself.
Right. Q, you hear these comments from James Cameron. What are your thoughts?
It's simple to me. If I gotta piss, I'm gonna get up and piss. Whether the movie an hour and 59 minutes or whether it's 3. But the thing is, beyond that, if it's a good movie and I'm into it, I'm gonna forget that I have to piss. Right. Honestly, if I'm so focused on the movie I'm watching, every detail, chances are I'm gonna forget that I have to pee. But if the movie's slow and I'm sitting here just thinking about how much I gotta piss, I'm gonna go piss. And so I agree with what Trey said too on the part about you can't really compare it to the streaming services just because the way TV shows and movies, they're set up so different. They're meant to, the storylines are just set up so different. They're meant to engage. TV shows are meant to keep you engaged like that. You're meant to binge watch those. That's why, they have categories like binge-worthy TV shows. Not every TV show you want to do that with, but there are some where you can do it with. And so that, I don't get the comparison, but, like I said, it really comes down to if your film is interesting enough to keep me in, not from pissing. If it's boring, I'm gonna go pee. if I'm in the movie, I'm not gonna go pee.
And that's honestly what it comes down to, because it doesn't come down to about your film being
I was
too
about to say,
long.
it
It just comes
4
down
hours,
to
2
it
hours.
being a compelling film. As long as it's compelling and the story's great enough and it can keep people entertained, it doesn't matter how long it is. It can be great. I mean, look at Stranger Things. We just watched a 4-hour deal on that, and I watched it back to back. I mean, yes,
Same.
you can say the same thing binging, but that was 4 hours of just 2 episodes. It kept me interested. It was compelling. That's why it was so good. But you know, to each his own. James Cameron said what he said. This comes from Taika Waititi, and this comes from our guys over at CBR.com. And the Taika Waititi film, Star Wars film, may be a little further along than fans expected. They had this to say: although there aren't too many details on Waititi's Star Wars just yet, Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy previously revealed that the film is set to be released before Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron. In May, Kennedy also said Lucasfilm was looking at a tentative late 2023 release for Waititi's Star Wars. Beyond that, details concerning the upcoming project are scarce. Waititi is currently developing the film with Light, Night, and Shoujo writer Crystal Wilson Carnes, who is attached to co-write the screenplay. I want Taika Waititi to stay the absolute fuck away from Star Wars, especially after watching Love and Thunder. I want him to stay the absolute fuck away from Star Wars. I do not think Taika Waititi can handle. I don't want him to bring his humor to Star Wars. Star Wars and Disney have a complicated relationship as it is with humor, with 7, 8, and 9. I feel like humor has been thrown into Star Wars where humor was never in Star Wars. Did Star Wars have humorous moments? Yes, but Star Wars is supposed to be a serious toned. You can play on the humor a little bit. Like, for me, the humor was perfect in Rogue One. That's the type of humor, serious tones that Star Wars needs to have. But when you bring Taika Waititi on, and you already have him, earlier this week he asked Natalie Portman to star in his Star Wars film, and she's like, well, I've played in Star Wars. And he said, oh, I forget about those. That's concerning, sir. Whether it would, maybe he was joking, maybe that was Taika being funny, I don't know. But let's assume he was being serious. That's concerning. You don't know about the fucking prequels? You forgot about the prequels, and you're about to make it. And I understand his Star Wars film has nothing to do with the Skywalker saga or anything like that, but it's still Taika Waititi being involved. Get the fuck back. So when you hear Taika Waititi's talking about, oh, his Star Wars film and it being further along than fans or audiences thought, what do you think?
I mean, I think Taika's a great director. But I agree with you that he has a style. He has, a lot of directors have a thumbprint. They have a signature thing they like to do. And Taika's is a really interesting way of bringing in humor. And like with Ragnarok, it worked very well. Love and Thunder, I don't think it did. But Star Wars, let's go back and watch Episode 6, right? The humor is almost kind of dark, right? Like the humor fits the setting in a way where the droids can be kind of dark about there. And it's kind of a chuckle laugh. It's not gags. It's not punchlines, right?
It's not supposed to.
Luke is, flying, doing his thing, and he might make a childish joke because he's but it's never a full belly laugh. It's nuanced, but it's subtle at the same time, right? And I think that's kind of the important part here. Like you said, Rogue One did it very well. It's weird because I don't have an issue with Taika doing it. If he didn't do it his way, that's the problem I have. It can't be these slapstick jokes the whole time and funniness, because that's not. Star Wars is already going in a direction that I feel like is not good. I've said that for a while now. My personal opinion, I don't like where it's been going. And this is part of the problem. Stop grabbing these, you're in the Disney realm, the MCU realm. Bring in people that have passion and want to do this job, not someone who doesn't know who stars in the prequels.
And now, Q, I know that you're not the Star Wars fan here, but one thing that we are going to do with Q is when Andor drops, that's going to be your introduction to Star Wars. We are going to be covering Star Wars. That's 12 episodes. That's 12 weeks of Andor. But Q, you're not the biggest Star Wars fan, but I mean, Taika Waititi, you know Star Wars enough to know, how do you feel he could impact Star Wars as a director, if impact at all?
I wish that directors would pass on jobs that they feel like they don't match with. Stop trying to get your name out on the biggest project or get money grabs and everything. Me as a director, if I was a director, I wouldn't want to work on stuff that wasn't in my realm or stuff that so he did Thor and everything, Thor Ragnarok it hit, so it's I understand why he would want to apply the same thing to Love and Thunder and everything, same formula, but it's I don't think he should be expanding that into different businesses, different cinemas and everything, different genres and everything, unless it's an experimental film or TV show. Like shit like I know shit like I don't even watch Star Wars, but I know shit like that matters to so many people, and it's like I feel like they're not even trying to cast like maybe some newer people with more passion who might care. I feel like now they're just going for bigger names and shit, and so I feel like that might be why everyone's starting to say they don't like the direction it goes, simply because of who they're hiring.
Right. Right. Yeah. No. Like I said, I completely agree. I think that Taika again needs to stay the absolute fuck away from Star Wars. I don't want him touching Star Wars. I don't want him touching the next Thor movie. But that's neither here nor there, and I'm going to digress because we need to move on. But this is going to come from the direct, and this is going to be because the Marvel fandom froze earlier this week when it came out that Tom Holland has not yet signed on to for Spider-Man 4, Spider-Man 5, Spider-Man 6, and a lot of fans were concerned. A lot of people were saying, you know, is Tom Holland coming back? I think everybody can pump their brakes. Tom Holland's definitely coming back. But if you wouldn't mind reading that from the direct there.
Yeah, even though plans are in place for more MCU Holland-led Spidey films, Snyder doesn't believe he has actually signed a deal yet with Marvel or Sony to continue playing the role. This will likely remain a high priority for Sony Pictures as the company looks to keep the franchise moving forward, especially with plans for more Spider-Man movies still being unofficial for now. Okay, so Sony may not have the biggest bench in terms of franchises, but it wisely made a deal with Marvel Studios to get its marquee character Spider-Man into the MCU, which helped make the studio's solo Spidey movies must-see. Even more so, and while plans are in motion for another Spidey trilogy starring Tom Holland, I don't believe he has actually signed a deal yet. So those plans remain unofficial for now. That said, I'm sure that more Spidey adventures with Holland are a top priority for Rothman & Co., which is also counting on him as the anchor of its budding Uncharted franchise as well.
Now, the reason I say I don't think it's a big deal, because if everybody remembers, after No Way Home, Amy Pascal and Kevin Feige did come out together, because Amy Pascal and Kevin Feige have a long-standing relationship. But they both came out together and said that Tom Holland, Zendaya, Jacob Batalon would all be back for Spider-Man, and Spider-Man 4 was already in development. Not only that, Holland himself is slated to appear in at least one more Marvel film, as far as a team-up film, not a solo film, but he's slated in his contract to show up in another team-up film. But when you hear that Tom Holland hasn't signed on yet for Spider-Man 4, 5, or 6, are you concerned about that, or are you just like, Tom Holland just hasn't done it yet because Kevin Feige and them haven't gotten around to signing contracts?
I'm not concerned for kind of a different reason. I think Tom Holland has shoehorned himself into this role, and there's nothing he can do about it, even if he wanted to do something different. The reason I say that is look at the Uncharted movie, right? So for those of you that are not big gamers out there, Naughty Dog tells amazing stories in their video games. The Last of Us series, Uncharted, they're great games, and they are heavily story-driven. It's like playing a movie. They're very cinematic. The stories are very, very good. This movie should have sold extremely well. And yeah, they cast Mark Wahlberg, which I disagreed with, but also Tom Holland, that was Spider-Man. That was Peter Parker. That's all anyone could see in that movie.
Right.
And, you know, that was something he said he fears, that he will never... But here you are, bro. You are Spider-Man. You are a damn good Spider-Man. I will always go see what you do because you're Spider-Man.
Right. You
got to see it to the end. And I think he's realizing that of like, because anywhere he goes, he's a Daniel Radcliffe. That's Harry Potter right there. And no matter what else he tries to do, he has put himself in this position. Oh no, make all this money and you make extremely successful films, he'll be back. He literally. Well, think about it. If he bailed on it now and goes to make another movie, the same thing would happen as Uncharted. It wouldn't sell well.
Yeah, he's Spider-Man. Tom Holland Spider-Man. Q, you hear these things? What do you think about Tom not signing those contracts?
I'm not worried at all. Just because I know when it first started, it was negotiations and stuff. Him maybe wanting to get more money with another contract and everything. But honestly, I just think there's bigger fish to fry in the MCU right now. Like, they'll get around to it whenever they have to, but I don't think that's something that Feige's worried about. I think he knows that's something that he has a good enough relationship with Tom Holland to just work out whenever almost, I feel like. So, I don't think it's really too big of anything to worry about, especially since we know that Kevin Feige and Amy came out after No Way Home and said that they'd all be returning and everything.
Yeah, they'll be back. It's not a big deal at all. But speaking of staying on that Spider-Man track, one of the things that I was super excited about was Andrew Garfield returning to Marvel as Spider-Man. And I love Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. He is my favorite Spider-Man. ever. So seeing that seeing that Andrew Garfield has signed a multi-deal with Marvel, and we kind of knew that this was going to happen because after No Way Home, if you remember, it came out that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire would be back, that Marvel and Sony wanted them back. And everybody's kind of suspected that it would be more along the lines of Andrew Garfield coming back over Tobey coming back. Do I still think we're going to see Tobey again? Yes, but are we going to see more Andrew than Tobey? I also think that we're going to be seeing that. But one of those projects that he could have signed on for, obviously, would probably be a solo Amazing Spider-Man 3 film. We did hear him in No Way Home say that he wants to fight an alien. I think he's going to be the Spider-Man that fights Venom in Venom 3. Why else put that in there? Why play on that? Why have Tom say the things he said? Why have Tobey? Unless you want to play on it. And I think the last thing that he's going to be showing up in is Secret Wars. He's going to be one of the multiversal Spider-Men that's going to be in Secret Wars film. But when you hear that Andrew Garfield is back at Marvel or signed a potential deal with Marvel, where's your mind go with that?
Well, see, that's the problem. Seeing the things Sony has done recently, I'm not excited for it. Just because I don't think Sony knows how to make a good Spider-Man related film to save their lives. They made Venom 1. That's it. That's it in the past how many years? That was good? I mean...
Well, I will say this. Kevin Feige is involved. Last week, one of the rumors that came out last week, I meant to say this, was that Kevin Feige was going to be involved with Sony in helping them develop their Spider-Verse, and he's going to be helping them with the Madam Web film, the Venom 3 film, fucking Immorto, and everything else. That
is the only saving grace that can be a part of it. And this isn't a knock to Andrew Garfield. I think he was a great Spider-Man. I think he's right behind Tom Holland for me. It's whatever, right? But, like, if someone like Feige who knows how to tell a simple multi-movie faceted story, like an interconnected story, isn't involved, I don't think it'll do well, and that's going to suck because Andrew Garfield deserves the opportunity to do and be the Spider-Man he was trying to be the whole time, right? But I have no faith in Sony. My faith in Sony is so little, like...
No,
it's Morbin time, guys.
I completely agree with you.
And so that's, I would love to see him come back. I'd love to see him fight Venom. I just think anyone who put their hands on Venom 2 needs to not be involved. Other than Tom Hardy himself.
Yeah. You hear Andrew Garfield, the greatest Spider-Man of all time, is coming back to Marvel. What are your thoughts on that?
I just feel like every time we read something new, it just confirms like more Secret Wars in my, like, every time like I see something like this, it's just, I don't know, I just can't wait to see Phase 5, honestly. Like, I want to get into the future of the MCU, because this little phase we're stuck in right now has not been the most enjoyable. But, personally, I mean, when it comes to Sony, I think they fuck everything up but Spider-Man. Like, they'll fuck up Venom, they'll fuck up Madam Web, maybe they'll fuck up whatever else, but I think they know when it comes to Spider-Man, I think they know to let whoever help them, let Feige do whatever, because they know, like, they can't fuck Spider-Man up. If they fuck that up, like, they're done. Like, I think they know, like, they fuck everything else up. I think they know they messed Morbius up. I think they know. That's why they tried to re-release it, hoping the memes, like, actually would do something. I think they know they messed Venom 2 up. I think they know they messed just a lot of things up, and so...
that kind of goes, and I don't want to drag this one out, but that kind of goes on to Kevin Feige warning Sony. This came out this week that Kevin Feige did indeed warn Sony to slow the fuck down on your Spider-Verse. Stop trying to speed things up. Stop trying to keep up with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And Sony, obviously, as we saw with Morbius, obviously what we saw with Venom 2, they're not fucking listening. Sony's on there, but Sony's gonna Sony. We know that. Sony's gonna Sony regardless. But them having Kevin Feige's help is a major plus. Like I said, having him work on Immorto and Madam Web, because we don't even know what the fuck is going on with Madam Web. They're hiring Emma. I want to say it's not Watson. Jesus, what's her name? Girl from American Horror Stories. Emma Roberts and
everybody says American Horror Story.
Yeah, Sydney Sweeney and all these other. A lot of people are asking, is this a Madam Web film or is this a Black Cat Silver Sable film? Like, what the fuck's going on? Because I mean, who's in this film? Like, but having Kevin Feige over there with Kevin Feige warning them about this, that's something that they just have to have Kevin Feige's help. They have to. But that's all on our list here for shit you might have missed. So if you've missed anything or you've been caught up, let us know down below in the comments what you think of any of these, any of the topics that we've talked about. What are you guys thinking about some of these things? Let us know down below. We'll like, subscribe, share with your friends, and we will see you guys in the next video.